Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, a great Black Friday. Hopefully you did some good shopping. I'm here with my friends, Willie Walls and the great Swame. Willie Walls, did you have a happy Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was blessed. It was good. It's always good to be with family. And we had this virtual thing, you know, when you put the thing on for virtual, man, they put me on the roller coaster and I was standing up, man. I looked mighty small. You know, when I was, I act like I fell down, I did everything,
So they put the glasses on and you're like,
they put the glasses on, yeah, they got the boundaries. And then you go on the roller coaster. I said, Mom, this ain't nothing. I was like, oh. I started losing my balance, and they filmed it, So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we did. It was good, but I only lasted for I tapped out at about 20 seconds. After I went down, I was on the ground, And then the next one we did the boxing. Man, I had about 40 seconds in me, and I was done. I was out. That's all right, man.
Did you knock the guy out in 40 seconds? You get knocked out in 40 seconds.
I don't know about that. But I just know I was done with swinging. I was like, God dang, boy, this stuff is tiring,
Who makes those things? I would definitely buy that.
It's called Oculus or something like that, man. But it's good and it's worth it. I mean, I'm gonna take another opportunity to do it. But they got you walk the plank, man. You think you think you're about to fall. They got some stuff. It will make you look silly. It will really make you look silly. But
so you ever do really virtual reality like that?
I think I'm just glad that Willie had the PG version of whatever that was, because he sounded like he was looking forward to the going to the club with the Oculus. So I'm glad he was just walking the plank.
What?
Who knows? You could have been trying to meet a virtual Beyonce. I don't know.
No, sir. No, sir.
Can you meet a virtual Beyonce on the Oculus?
Well, he must know something about it, because I'm not even thinking that way. That
is a good point there, Willie. That is a good point. Swami's head is in the gutter.
That nasty rascal.
The way he sounded, he said,
I did not believe that, Willie. I totally want to try that.
You took that in a way. That was unimpressive.
It's on a bad road, Swami.
Sir.
No, sir. No, sir. Don't even try that. Cute dog. I see what cute dog, sir.
All right, let's get to week number 12. This week feels easier to me, and I get worried, guys, when it feels too easy. That tells me a lot. So let's focus on the games. And if I miss one, you'll let me know and scream out. The Dolphins against the Texans. How did the Dolphins not pour points on in this one? You got Tua. You probably don't have Mostert. Is Jeff Wilson a must play? Tyreek, Waddle. Maybe get a little garbage time production from one of those receivers in the Texans on the way back. Willie, will you have a Dolphins lineup?
I will. I'm gonna be honest with you. The only one I'm really playing from this game is Wilson. That's my guy, because I like other games with other players, and I know I just want to. I don't know how viable, because I think they're going to whip their hindparts, and I don't know if you're going to get the full value. I don't think I want to play that full value for Tyreek. I know it's a great matchup. Got it, get it, but I like the running game, and for me, Wilson is almost just a lock for me. It's just a lock button, and I'm just moving on. I love Jeff Wilson. I mean, but it's, I know they could do other stuff with Tua with them, but for me, I just think that they're so bad against the run game, and they're going to be so scared of the speed receivers. It's just going to be wide open for Wilson. So I'm all in on Mr. Wilson, my favorite back for this week.
You like Tyreek, you like Tua, you like Waddle, or are you in on Wilson? I'm in on Wilson too. I think he's a must play.
Yeah, I think I like Wilson a lot. I feel like he might get 25 touches this week, and I'm not really sure how much they'll need to throw the ball, even though I can see a scenario where it's Tua and he's throwing, 2 or 3, but and he's getting those short ones to Hill around the goal line. Like, you could almost talk me into something like that, Doc, but at 92, I don't know if I like it. I'd rather be playing with the Oculus.
I would too, by the way. All right, let's focus on the Chiefs here. The Chiefs, this game could be over by halftime, guys. This could be a Patrick Mahomes getting you 285 yards and 3 touchdowns literally by halftime. And then the Chiefs often shut it down in the second half. It's like Andy Reid goes, nah, no more throwing. I'll just hand the ball off 100 times. With that being said, Swami, I'm going to throw you some names. Obviously Mahomes, obviously Kelsey, Juju, maybe Pacheco in this game. Are you playing any Chiefs this week?
I think you can play a lot of Chiefs this week. I just don't know. I like the Chiefs a lot, but because of what you just said, I don't know if I love the Chiefs a lot. I think Juju at that price, probably on all sites, I think he's a play. I feel like Mr. Kelsey, my goodness, every week he's worth his weight in gold. And then Pacheco's in a great spot with nobody else really to take snaps away. Maybe McKinnon get a few. He should probably get 18, 20 touches. And then you feel like Mahomes is going to be throwing it all over the ballpark, offensive lineman, backup tight ends, third fullback. But I just don't know if I get enough back and forth to really like this game. I feel like we could be looking at whoever the third running back is in the second half and him getting 12 carries. So obviously they always a play. I like them. I definitely, wouldn't be mad at playing at least one or two players in every lineup, but I still don't love it.
What about Willie? You love the Chiefs? Because there's some guys to really love. I mean, Mahomes is going to get there. He's going to get there. Do we need to be on that?
I'm going to have some exposure because look at this. The last 7 games, quarterback 6-2, 6-3, 2-2, 1. And then going on that same line, Kelsey, same type of thing, where he's just dominating, coming together. But I actually like the $3,000 players. I don't know how healthy Juju's going to be. That Justin Watson played like 97% of the snaps. I think they like him a lot. And what's the other dude that got big hand? What's his name? The other $3,000 receiver, huh?
Sky Moore.
They are very interesting GPP options. And see what DraftKings did. Remember we talked about the price last week? Remember we talked about how the price is like you had no $3,000 receivers, how everybody was 45, you was paying too much for receivers. I think they heard everybody's cry, and they have, if you notice, they've loosened up the pricing this week. So really you could get in what you could fit in, to be honest with you. So I really, really, really think that, I don't mind doing a Kelsey Moore Mahomes, a Kelsey Watson Mahomes. I don't mind that kind of stack. And then if you want to do the leverage play, it will be Pacheco, doing the leverage play. So and I think he will be one of the lower owned running backs on this slate because you got about 6 or 7 strong playing backs on this thing, and I think he will be a lower owned. So I think I'm gonna have a little bit of a Pacheco because I think he is overdue. That rascal hasn't had a touchdown yet.
Since week one.
Oh well, we haven't had nothing since then. So I think they're trying to ramp it up for this dude. I like the guy to get touches. I don't think he's going to last for 3 years because the way he runs, he has a reckless abandon type of. He runs like who's the running back that played for Dallas? You remember how he used to he played like in about 2008. I forgot his name, but he ran reckless and he only
Barber.
Marion Barber.
He has that Marion Barber all over the place type of running hard type of guy with speed. But I just think that he's a very interesting GPP option this week.
I think so too, because let's get to some of those running backs. There are guys out there. I mean, look, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Jeff Wilson, Austin Eckler, Latavius Murray, if you will. There are guys, Samaje Perine. I'm just giving you guys who are going to have the football, right? And they have higher ownership. So, Swami, you're nodding your head yes, you're nodding your head no. Let's talk about Kenneth Walker first of all. Let's talk about that Seattle Raider game. You've got Geno Smith. We haven't seen him in a while, but Geno Smith's pretty good. You got DK Metcalf. You got Walker there. You got Lockett. You got Fant. You got Devontae Adams, who's looked good. You got Matt Collins. You got Moreau. Seattle does not cover tight ends. And there's a possibility you don't have Josh Jacobs. Does this game explode, Swami?
I hope it explodes. I like it a lot. I like Walker. He might, if it wasn't for some of these other guys breaking loose and some of this value showing up in great spots, he would have been, he was a
He would have been chalk. He would have been chalk.
And I think I still like him a lot because with some of the backs opening up, doing my Willie Walls impersonation, and I'm talking out the other side. That's why they call it an impersonation when you talk on both sides of your neck. So I think he could, you can see his ownership maybe come down a little bit, even though that ain't my game, because of all the value that's opening up, and he's still in a great spot. I think what Devontae Adams has been doing over the last couple of weeks, you got to like him. And then if you were, a betting man, if you were a risk taker, you got guys like Matt Collins. You might even be interested in the tight end situation for Vegas. You still have that situation with Jacobs yet to unfold. And then I think DK and Smith and Lockett are probably plays just about every week, just trying to feel out, where you think it's going to go. I would take Walker and give me Adams, please.
What about you, Willie? Do you love this game? Is Kenneth Walker a must start this week?
I'm not going to say must start, but he's up there. I'm going to have – he will be part of the core. I'm going to have like 4 or 5, like about 5 running backs that's going to core. Really at the top 4. He'll be in the top 4. I like him a lot. But also, don't forget about Mr. Lockett, because the Raiders get lit up in the slot. And Mr. Lockett is a man of interest for this week, so I like Lockett this week. I just think, but I don't like Jacobs getting that last. I don't like people getting that last second, injury report like half. I don't like that at all. So he's probably going to be a fade for me because I don't know, how long at that price point. And when I have 4 other backs at a lower price point, why even mess with somebody who could potentially, get out of the game? So I'm not going to have any of that.
All right, listen, I'm going to give you some running backs, and I just want are they in the core or out of the core, okay? Austin Eckler, in or out, Willie?
I'm not paying. I'm not going up higher than $6,900. He's out of my core.
Swami, in or out?
I love him, but I can't afford him this week, Doc.
Kenneth Walker, in the core or out?
In.
For sure.
Swami?
In.
Jeff Wilson, in or out?
Lock.
Derrick Henry, in or out?
Out.
I can't afford him, but again, I like him. Can't afford him.
Christian McCaffrey, in or out?
Out.
Can't afford him. Can't afford him, Doc. He's out.
Alvin Kamara, in or out?
Out.
Hell no.
Travis Etienne, in or out?
Out.
Out.
Damian Pierce, in or out?
Out.
Way out.
Samaje Perine, in or out?
He's out too.
Just out.
Just out.
Just out.
Rashad White, in or out?
In.
Lock.
Latavius Murray, in or out?
Who?
Latavius Murray.
Who?
Come on, dude.
No.
Just started running back.
No, we ain't playing the mummy. That's the mummy.
No Denver running backs.
All right. James Conner, in or out?
He's in
Very
the core. He's in the core.
man.
He's
He's
in
the core. My core. Your core. Our
He's a
core.
man.
He's in my core.
He's a man of interest, Doc. But I'm getting better value with some of the other guys we just mentioned.
David Montgomery, in or out?
Out.
Out.
Nick Chubb is out. Donta Foreman.
Out.
Interesting, but out.
Michael Carter. A nice dart throw with a guy that threw 20 targets to backs in his only start and threw for 400 yards. He will be I'm just going to have a one lineup with that rascal in it just to have a exposure to him. That's the guy that could be
play for sure, but he's still out.
He out the core, but I'm playing one time.
No,
One time.
Let's be clear. I like him. If he gets 18 plus touches, Doc, he will be fantasy goodness. It's Willie get the touches. They've been keeping him around 10. That offense is.
But the way that quarterback throws, he's another Flacco. He throws it to the backs a lot. And the last time he started, he had over 20 targets to the running backs.
Against the Bengals, right? Yeah, he threw a lot to them.
I'm interested in them, but I just don't like what they're doing over there.
Antonio Gibson, in or out?
Out.
In for me. He damn near he a combination lock almost. He's almost in for me for sure.
Pacheco, in or out?
Interesting. I'm gonna have some exposure.
Yeah, he guaranteed to get you 100 yards. I just don't know if he's gonna get in the end zone.
Did I miss anybody?
No,
I don't think so.
All right, so we have like 4 or 5 guys that are just right there, and maybe like 2 that are real.
I mean White and Wilson. They will, and I will rotate the other guys around.
Gibson been getting 20 touches, sir. You better watch out.
I'm not. I'm listen. I hear you. It's the Commanders.
Got the second best matchup on the slate. Somebody.
Is there a guy? And let's just use White or Wilson because I think it's going to be one of them. Is there one of those guys, or even Walker, who's bad chalk?
I don't consider none of them bad chalk. Now for me.
Which one of those guys could disappoint us? None.
Listen, what I see with Walker, because now what surprised me about Walker is I didn't know that they throw the ball so much to him. You know, so that's what because he had the reputation of not being able to catch the ball, but Seattle, they give him targets. So I like all 3 of those guys. I can't.
So here's the question for you, Swame, first, and then back to Willie. If everybody seems to like these guys, which I think is fair, right? And these guys are hovering in that 25 to 30% rostered. How do we differentiate our lineup, Swami?
I think Willie mentioned it earlier. If you take a chance with some of those receivers under 4,000 one way, I think depending on your tight end, because tight end is clear as mud this week. You got Kelsey, and there's a lot of guys you can roll the dice with. That's what one we might have should have talked about. Everett's in a great spot. Will he be in the game? We don't even know how well that groin is doing. Yes, he practiced. Will he get the targets? Who else is there at tight end who you really like? Tight end will make the difference this week. If you can find a receiver under 4,000, and then we haven't talked about QB, especially if you can.
I just want to start with the core because I think the running backs this week were different because we knew there were about 5 or 6 guys, right? So let's talk tight end for a second. Is Mark Andrews back in play? Willie, is he in play?
He's first of all, he's underpriced. I would say that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The Ravens pass game, man. My goodness, I mean, their receivers, even Robinson is now hurt and might not play, and then you throw into Asane.
No, he's got a hamstring too. Showed up late on the injury report.
I'm just saying.
Lamar looks like Cheeks.
It just, man, but this is, listen, but if you want to get well, this is the matchup to get well on. Going against these guys, if Lamar, and I'm going to call him a Shalimar, the way he's been playing for me in season long, if that bastard don't tighten up, I'm going to tell you, but I don't like his weapons. His weapons are hard. You can't just depend on, look, we all know what they're going to do because one thing he does not do well, he does not throw out to the boundary well. We know that, and that's what people are doing. So that's why they work so hard to funnel Andrews in the middle. But my God, it's old. You know, they need to get they did, and I agree with Swami now. They did him by not getting a receiver. That was ridiculous. It's asinine. That they did not give him a receiver. How do you expect?
Well, if Bateman got hurt, Bateman's good. Bateman got hurt.
Yeah, but Bateman's a number 2. He's a number 2 guy. He is not a number 1 guy. I think Swame will agree with me on that. He is not a number 1 guy. Number 2.
Speaking of number 2, Lamar's been taking a lot of number 2s on my fantasy teams this year. Been dropping deuces all over the place.
Yeah.
Do we like Andrews? Is Andrews, because I think he's going to be about 10 to 12% owned. Good chalk, bad chalk. Would you rather be cheaper on tight end?
I just know that Andrews can win a tournament. And I think that's the best thing I can say here. Again, I'm so concerned about my beloved Ravens and the way they've been playing on the offense and the play calling, game calling. It's worse than a number 2, Doc. It is literally bad tacos. It's the bad beans. It is the nightmare scenario, Doc. You wear all white. You're someplace without a restroom. It's terrible. When I got into this foolishness.
That is so crass. That is crass.
He's been off the rails this show. He's been off the rails.
I think Andrews can take down the tournament. I still do.
I do too.
They got a good situation going in this week with Jacksonville, who hasn't really offered much resistance. So I'm interested there again. I think Andrews is in play though.
And listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. In this game, Andrews is the only play besides the Ravens defense. I don't want Ash TM. I don't want ATM. I don't want none of that. I don't want no Jacksonville guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't want them. I don't want Jackson. So the only one that I agree with Swami is Andrews.
So
that's
really,
it.
which tight end do you want? Give me 3 or 4 tight ends that you want.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I might just put the lock button on Kelsey. I just might.
Seriously, you're gonna pay up for Kelsey?
Yeah, and you know why? Because that's why we got those $3,000 receivers. So I'm not saying that. But listen, Andrews is what, 6,500?
Right.
Kelsey 7,700. But who got 3 touchdown upside?
Do you think let me ask you this. Do you think there are enough cheap receivers, or do you think you need to be in the 4,000s with, let's say, a Garrett Wilson, let's see, a Treylon Burks?
You got so much value on this slate, Doc, with the running backs. My running backs, I'm not going over 6,900. Walker is the top that I'm going. I'm gonna have a lot of money to play with, and I got an interesting quarterback that I might put Kelsey on the other side that we might talk about a little bit later. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
All right, we'll get to quarterbacks in just a second. Swami, give me your tight ends that of value that you are looking at.
I think I'm still interested in Everett. I think that game has the chance to kind of have a little bit of back and forth. And with that being said, then McBride might become a little bit interesting to me at that price point. I think that the Texans tight end situation is ugly, but they got a great matchup this week. So they got that rookie that they like over there that he had more snaps than all the rest of the tight ends they've been playing. But when you're playing 4 guys, Doc, I really don't like even.
When you're playing 4 guys, you have no guys. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, what about a David? What about a David Njoku? What about a Dulcich? What about a Moreau?
Those guys.
I'm gonna tell you 2 that I'm interested in that you said that. Moreau will be a guy of interest, and still Dulcich because he still gets the air yards. It's just Russell Wilson hitting this dude, and when he hits this dude could go for 120 yards. And then that'll be the guy that you need to have. And right now, I can't do a Njoku because I would love to do a Njoku, but I think he's still coming back from that injury. Right. So that's what gives me. But if once he's get healthy, like next week when Watson get there, Njoku's in. Yeah. Njoku's in.
But round out the last 3, I think you could make a case for Hurts, Hooper, Ingram.
I like Hooper a little bit. He's been playing better recently.
Listen, it makes a difference when Tannehill came back.
Yes.
It makes a big difference. And I saw that. And Burks, they're starting to get that ball to Burks now, which I like. He has a lot of upside.
Big time.
And if the Bengals offense is showing up even a little bit, because the Titans are tough, it could give us enough back and forth where you get some fantasy goodness. I don't know how healthy.
Well, let me say that idea. They tough on the running backs, but man, they receive. Listen, the way you beat
against receivers,
the way you beat them is through the air. So that's why Burrow is a guy that people use.
Let's pivot to quarterbacks. Joe Burrow's in play. He always plays well this time of year. You can't run on the Titans. My only question, though, Willie, is does this game shoot out when Derrick Henry's going to get 25 carries? P. Ryan's still going to run the ball. Or is this game going to be like 26-20 and I didn't get enough fantasy goodness out of it?
I don't think this game is shooting out, because I know the way Tennessee. I'm going to tell you what, that Bravo, whatever his name is, that coach is a hell of a coach. They got his personality, and they're tough. They're a tough team. But
you're not playing Burrow.
I think T. Higgins out of the. I wouldn't trust Chase, but I think he's going to open it up for T. Higgins because Chase is there. It opens it up for T. Higgins, and I think T. Higgins is going to have a huge game. He had a huge game last week. He just didn't have the touchdowns to go with it. And I just think
are you playing Burrow?
I don't think so, Doc. I think I respect the Titans a little bit. They still got those offensive line troubles. You take Mixon out of it. P. Ryan, remember even last week, he didn't light it up in the backfield. He had success out of the backfield. So it's something that's interesting, Doc. So I see what you're thinking. I don't know if I like it enough to take that shot with Barrow right now.
Out of my 20 lineups that I have in the $3 max, I would think Burrow he'll be in one of them. I'm going to respect him to put him in one.
I could
let's go not
a core, but he'll be in one.
Let's go to a different game. Maybe I'll hit the running backs the quarterbacks that you like in this game. Is it in the Chargers-Cardinals game? Is this a Herbert, Kyler Murray week, Willie, that you like one of these guys?
I love Herbert. He probably my favorite quarterback of the slate is Herbie. Keenan Allen is back, and I like how Keenan looked last week. The amount of snaps that he had, and I just think that Palmer. I think with Eckler catching the ball out the backfield, I think Herbie is definitely in play. Love the matchup for Herbie. Yes, I'm going to have me some Herbie, and then for me, well, we'll talk about the backs, but I love Connor on the other side. So Kyler Murray, I still don't trust. Reason being is I do not like hammies. If this rascal can't run, no, thank you. He already got another problem being small, a midget. Not a midget, but a short man. Excuse me, a short rascal. He's a short man. Huh?
Little person.
Yeah, little tiny person.
How tall are you, Willie?
I'm 6 feet.
Okay. So Kyler Murray is small to you.
He is. He's 5'9", 5'8". He might be 5'5". I don't know what he is. He can't see a line.
There, right?
He's fast. But see, for me, if he don't have his legs, I can't utilize him. He need his legs for me. Because his IQ or ass Q, he can't read. He barely read a book. So, reading coverages.
Flag on the play.
No, ain't no flag. I'm going to tell you. Hold on. His own players say it's good to have a quarterback that can read coverage. Are you kidding me? The one-legged dude that's been in the NFL for 14 years. I'm telling you. I'm not saying he can't get there, but he needs to study. He's got to study. He is not a man that he just goes on that athletic talent.
He's not putting the time in, Swame.
He's not.
Stop. All right. There's a couple of things that's going on here, right? And I'm going to just use 3 quarterbacks, even though they all considered maybe running quarterbacks. All 3 quarterbacks are different. I won't spend a lot of time on this. You got Justin Fields, Kyler Murray, and you got Lamar Jackson. And here's the one thing that they all have in common. Bad coaching, bad game calling. They don't put them in great positions. They don't put the game, I think, in and they don't give them an opportunity to be successful when they're playing and making bad calls, going for the wrong spots. They don't have enough misdirection. They don't have they're not getting enough of action and movement, and they're so predictable. As soon as they line up, you know what they're doing. When Fields, they start letting him out and letting him loose and playing well, he took off. Fantasy explosion, even though he had a little injury. They weren't winning, but the offense looked a lot better. He looked a lot better. Lamar, now that he's back in solitary confinement, he's out there. There's a lot of uncertainty. They didn't give him any weapons, not moving. It's a common thing. And then what happens is everybody's overcritical, or maybe he isn't the best at reading this or reading that. But he's got skills, and if you put him in the right situation, he can be successful.
Yeah, but whoa. First of all, for a guy that played college football, let me say you this, sir. If your quarterback do not study, if he does not study, people lose trust. And I don't care what you say. This guy doesn't study. I can't say that about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson works hard.
Well, for a guy
don't put him in the right area. I can't say this about. I'm not going to say that about Justin Fields. Fields is another guy. They finally the dumb coaches did something. But this when you combine dumb coaching with a dumb guy that don't study, then you got disaster. And that's what you got in Arizona.
Top one in high school football. Let me tell you, you don't get to that level without study.
No. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can get there when you have overwhelming talent. I'm telling you, it's a big difference.
Can I give you two players? One is Kyler Murray. And how about Devontae Parker? This dude has all the talent in the world. I think he hasn't studied. I think he's lazy. For as good as he was, he should be better in the pros. I don't think he put the work in.
We talking QB though, Doc.
I know. I'm just giving you two guys. Chase Claypool. You think Chase Claypool's putting the time in? No.
Yeah, but you can't play QB and not study. Anyway, let's get back to the game.
All right, hold on. Let's get back to Herbert and Kyler Murray. Swame, you playing either of them?
Herbert's my guy for sure. Probably one of the top guys on the board. I need Kyler to do just enough so that we get some back and forth. I'm not mad at that. Remember the rule. Remember the rule, folks out there in TV land. If you like all of the positions, and guess what? We like Everett. We like Palmer. We like Allen. We like Eckler. That means that Herbert is your lock. It is that simple. We're not overthinking it. Don't make this hard on yourself. And guess what? We mentioned McBride. He's okay. Dortch, if his hand is okay, he might be a play. We know Hopkins come with it every week. We mentioned Mr. Carter here. He's a man of interest. But I don't like what they're doing. I agree with Willie. I can't use somebody who's not carving it up with a bad wheel. I can't do that. But I like the other side. And I just hope that Murray give us enough where we get fantasy good.
So let me ask you guys this. Let's say we go all in on a game stack here. Are you stacking Allen and Eckler, Allen and Everett, McBride and Hopkins? How do we figure this jigsaw puzzle out? Or do we just need to have enough lineups to get every permutation in there?
I wouldn't get every permutation. I mean, the main people I'm looking at the two receivers for the Chargers. Eckler is a man of interest, but he's not because of his price point. He is.
What about Hopkins? What about Hopkins? Is Hopkins a must?
Hopkins is definitely in play. He's definitely in play. But my favorite play for the Cardinals is Connor. Connor's my favorite play.
Well, is Hopkins a must? Hopkins and Allen a must?
I need Hopkins to find his way into pay dirt. I think if he gets into pay dirt with those likely 14 targets this week, then yes. But if he can't get in the end zone, it's going to be tough for him to hit value as his price has been going up. But I do like him.
So let me ask you a question because I've been thinking about this a lot. Let's just assume for argument's sake that Hopkins does not score. Okay? Give me another receiver, and I'll just use maybe Godwin. Are Godwin and Hopkins similar if they both don't score?
Yeah.
Similar. Not the same, but similar. So assuming they both don't score, if Hopkins gets me 8 for 80 and Godwin goes 7 for 70, can I replace Godwin in that Hopkins spot and save the money Because otherwise, Hopkins is only better if he scores.
I mean, Godwin is a better Godwin is a better value, definitely a better value, but going to be playing in the rain. So
you get my point. Though I'm not saying Godwin.
I get your point. I get your point.
Doesn't score, then I can find
he's worthless.
Close.
If he doesn't score, he's worthless. He didn't hit his price point.
Correct.
That's why I like Connor, because one thing I know about Connor, he getting it all. He greedy. He getting every snap. And he's a tough guy, and you can run on him. So he's definitely a man of interest for me.
All right, Swame, is there a receiver that you need to have this week?
I need to have. If I had to say the guys that I need to have, I like McLaurin a lot, that 5,800. I think I like Keenan Allen at that 6,100. I think have some interest in Sutton at 5,600. And I think I like one of the Seattle receivers at their price points respectively. Other than that, again, I really like Adams, and you could talk me into a Wilson this week for the Jets as far as high and low end. But those guys, I feel like they're probably around that sweet spot. And you could throw in Mr. Cooper for me at around that price point as well. I think at 6,400. I like him a lot. I think he's in a good spot too against Tampa, as they're going to need to throw the ball. And I don't know if I want to get up to Evans, but I like those guys right there, Doc. They would be the ones I would play with.
Willie, you gave me Taylor a couple of weeks ago. You gave us Fields and Hill. What's your connection this week that's the ride or die?
I'm gonna tell you what. My favorite receiver on the board is Adams this week. I love Adams this week. I think he's going to get the talk. I mean, I'm not saying the quarterback. I mean, but my favorite connection will be Herbie throwing to his two receivers. Because I can't trust Everett with his hamstring, and anybody got it a hammy. And I'm not paying for Eckler, but I think in most of my lineups, I'm going to have either both receivers in there, or I'm going to have one. It's going to be, so it's going to be either Keenan Allen or it's going to be Palmer. I'm going to have it. They will be in every line. One of them will be in every lineup. I'm just going to switch it up, and they're going to be a lock whether I play Herbie or not. Now, if I play Herbie, I could possibly do two of them. I just think that it's a hell of a matchup. I love that Herbie is finally healthy again. He was hurt for about 3 weeks when he wasn't himself, but now you see that Twitch is coming back. He's getting the ball out. He's getting a little better protection, and they are starting to rev it up. So I just think this is a fantastic spot for him. And I'm gonna tell you, even though I know it's a blow, but listen, Mahomes, man. They just a throwing team. You know what I mean? They just throw the ball. So even though Mahomes, it might not be, you think it's a blowout spot, man, Mahomes is like what Brady used to be in terms of they just like rubbing it in. They just like, we're going to put your face in the dirt and we just going to rub you down a little bit more.
In the fourth quarter, Andy Reid sometimes lets up a little bit. Brady
but at that point, he already got 3-4 touchdowns.
Right.
You know what I mean? The damage is done,
Right. So are we both in agreement? Are we all in agreement that that's the $100 stack?
I got one more. I want to shake it up a little bit, even though Willie tried to cover them all. Damn. So I'm gonna throw this one at you, Doc. Now, Doc, I hope you're sitting down. I see you, but I'm just hoping. I think Heineke, McLaurin, and Gibson would be an interesting stack. That would
bring it back with Drake London,
and you could potentially bring it back with London. I don't love London's talk, but you could. I'm also okay with not bringing it back with London because we got the wide receiver and running back as a part of this thing, right? With Gibson.
Let me give you my one of my little darts that I'm throwing out is Mr. Perkins. Mr. Perkins for the Rams.
Is that the light my money on fire stack?
Hey, listen, no, I'm not stacking with nobody. He out there butt naked. He ain't with nobody because I think he can run for over 100 yards, and I don't know when.
Huh? You know,
And if I play him, guess what I'm playing on the other side? Kelsey.
Doc,
I'm playing Kelsey.
this week, Kansas City at 28.
yeah, I know. All right. Walls to the walls call from Willie Walls. What you got for me?
Give me one of those $3,000 receivers for Kansas City. I like them both. I think I'm going to have one of them in every lineup that I have. They will be part of my core. Getting one of those $3,000 guys. My favorite, I do like Murray, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Mr. Watson because I think Mr. Watson has been doing these things. I like Mr. Watson.
Swame says,
I'm going to do what he did, Doc. Because if you ask for one, you get two. It's like every
both sides of my neck, Swami.
do the same thing. Yeah, we got it. Here we go. I like Mr. Wilson, but because I don't trust him, give me Peoples-Jones. I think they're going to have to throw the ball. Swami says.
You don't like Cooper at home?
I love Cooper. Cooper's my guy, but I think
And his price can change.
yeah. But they're gonna have to throw, and I think we could get some back and forth in that game if we do, because that game could be cheeks too. If we get some back and forth, I think I like Peoples.
All right, my visionary play of the week is Trey McBride from Arizona. I think he's in play. I think that with all those injuries there, and maybe, just maybe, is there a Robbie Anderson sighting? I don't know, but I think
Hell no! I'm gonna tell you that. Hell no to that guy.
I like McBride. All right, time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. For Willie and the Swami, this is Dr. Roto saying be well and
Take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.